and the hammer will turn Tel Aviv upside down. Tel Aviv will look like Gaza by the time you're done. Just let the Israelis know that that's what's at stake here. And they'll shut up. They'll back. They won't shut up. The Israelis never shut up, but they'll back off. It was Israel that begged for this ceasefire in June. Israel begged, and Israel's telling Trump, don't attack unless you can knock them out. So what is Israel saying now? They want to restart a war that they lost, that they suddenly have ballistic missile defense capabilities that could solve the Iranian missile problem. They don't. It's just political posturing on the part of Israel, because Netanyahu is in a political bind at home, and he can't be seen as being weak in the face of Iran's refusal to yield to American demands. Look, Iran exists today. The Islamic Republic survives today because of its ballistic missile program, and because specifically that ballistic missile program can reach Israel. So what Marco Rubio is saying is commit suicide. Our conditions are you commit suicide, because we know 100% that if Iran followed through and limited the range of its missiles so they couldn't strike Israel, Israel would destroy Iran without fear of retaliation. So it's a non-starter. It's stupid. I'm in no position to advise the Iranian government on anything, nor would I. I'm not an agent of Iran. But when you take a look at what's happening here in the United States, someone needs to remind Marco Rubio that your boss wanted to bomb Iran, assembling the greatest armada in the world, the big stuff, really big stuff, and then he didn't. Why, Marco? You're the national security advisor, so you can get into domestic politics, Marco Rubio. You're not just Secretary of State. And you know why. Because the United States can't deliver the knockout blow against Iran. And Iran would be able to deliver perhaps a knockout blow against Israel and do significant damage to the United States. So it's the United States that is seeking out these negotiations. Iran's not crawling to America. Now, I believe that the Iranians are smart enough to know that you need to leave the window open. But Rubio just shut the window, just shut the door. There's no space here. Marco Rubio doesn't make the decisions in Washington. This is a politically driven sequence of events that is precipitated not by what's happening in the region, but what's happening at home. You see, this president is in danger of terminating his presidency prematurely. There are midterm elections in November, and there is a good chance, because of the stupidity of his policies regarding, illegal immigrants. He got elected largely on this policy, and that people aren't against, deporting illegal immigrants, especially those with a criminal record. That's a good thing. But to invade American cities for purposes other than deportation, to use DHS as an occupation army to intimidate Democratic-leaning cities, to violate American constitutional rights because of quotas that are generated, to artificially, boost deportation numbers. There's a backlash, and America's just not putting up with it. And so Trump has been put on notice. You're going to lose the midterms. You're going to lose the House. And when you lose the House, you're going to be impeached every day of the week for the rest of your presidency. And that's the end of your presidency. Now, imagine that you take that sentiment, which he's struggling to overcome right now, to soften his policies, to have put a different face, a different spin on this. You couple that with the man who said, I'm not a war president, I'm a peace president. I want to disentangle America from, the trap of the Middle East, where we get stuck in generations long conflicts that cost trillions of dollars and achieve nothing but dead Americans. He's getting ready to get us involved in just that, because there will be no knockout blow against Iran. Now, we can hurt Iran. Of course we can hurt Iran. But Iran can hurt us too. And a threshold of pain that has been established by some in Iran is 500 dead Americans. That basically say, if this happens, we need to kill 500 Americans. And that'll be a threshold of pain that Donald Trump and America won't tolerate. Well, somebody who used to wear the uniform of the United States Marines and treasures those men and women who serve us, I don't want to see 500 dead Americans, especially in a war of choice. Iran isn't attacking us. Iran isn't threatening us. This is a war of choice. This is a war of politics, playing stupid games. This is a war that's designed to appease Israel. But I want to remind everybody that it was Israel at the end of the 12-day war that picked up the phone and called Donald Trump and pleaded for him to end the war because Iranian missiles couldn't be shot down and were starting to hit targets that were really painful to Israel. Nothing's changed in that equation. Nothing. So Marco Rubio can say whatever he wants. It's irrelevant. This president isn't going to bomb Iran because it's the end of his presidency. And so Iran should go forward. Look, I think Iran, should have flexibility on the nuclear program. That's my personal opinion. I'm not saying give it up. I'm just saying be realistic. If you can get the United States to agree to a nuclear program, and forget Marco Rubio, nuclear program means nuclear program, not ballistic missiles. I mean, the way you deal with missiles is simple. If I were the Iranians, I'd say, yep, you want to talk about that? Sure. Then everybody's capabilities. When you eliminate Israel's ability to strike Iran, we can eliminate our ability to strike Israel. That's plain and simple. And until that happens, we don't want to talk about it because the last time I checked, we didn't initiate conflict with Israel. Israel initiated conflict with us, and everything we did was defensive in nature. But the Iranians don't want to shut the door in the face of the United States because now you create a political problem. So you have one political problem, which is the president can't explain to the American people why he would be bombing Iran. Because the whole fiction of you're slaughtering 60,000 Iranians in the streets, that's been exposed as fiction and won't survive any scrutiny. Iran's not threatening us, not attacking us, none of that. But if Iran says we refuse to talk about nuclear issues at all, it shuts the door. Remember what happened last time we manufactured a case about weapons of mass destruction? And we went to war against Iraq. Then you give the president justification that could theoretically rally the American people around. I don't think it would, but it changes the political equation domestically. This is all about domestic American politics. This is all about the midterms and how Donald Trump positions himself to be successful in the midterm elections so his presidency can survive. A war with Iran, unprovoked war of aggression, a war of choice, would be disastrous for this president because he won't win. He is a bully. He expects to intimidate people into, capitulating shortly to either agree to an agreement or to give America what they want. When people stand up and say we're ready to fight, especially a nation like Iran that has proven capabilities, Trump doesn't want that fight because he doesn't want to pay the price. He can't pay the price. He's a moral and, I believe, physical coward. This is about domestic American politics. And as long as every action Iran takes keeps that in mind, I think they'll be okay. They have to play to the American mob. They have to convince the mob that Iran's not a target worthy of the death of any Americans. Israel's the one that told Donald Trump, don't bomb Iran unless you can deliver the knockout blow. Israel can't deliver the knockout blow. They did a surprise attack in June, and they didn't deliver the knockout blow, and they paid the price. So this is just posturing on the part of Israel. Israel's not going to unilaterally attack Iran because Israel will have Tel Aviv turned upside down. I mean, the Iranians have been preparing, I believe, for this very eventuality. Nothing's going to take them by surprise. The last time they allowed their entire country to go to sleep thinking they were in peace was the night that Israel attacked them and eviscerated their military leadership. That's not going to happen again. And Iran's capabilities are improving. So this is just bluster on the part of Israel. Again, if I were Iran, I would just ignore it. Or just put a statement out that if Israel attacks, we destroy Israel. It's the end of story. There won't be any, taking it nice on you this time. Our first targets will be all of your critical infrastructure. The lights will go out and never come back on. And we will be destroying targets in Israel with World War II type acceptance of collateral damage, meaning the day of us deliberately avoiding civilian casualties is over. This is an existential fight against Israel. You killed 900 Iranians in their bombing attack in the 12-day war. 900 Iranians, civilians, were killed by the Israelis. Just tell the Israelis the gloves are coming off. You're not coming in, softly. You're coming in with the hammer. And the hammer will turn Tel Aviv upside down. Tel Aviv will look like Gaza by the time you're done. Just let the Israelis know that that's what's at stake here. And they'll shut up. They'll back. They won't shut up. The Israelis never shut up, but they'll back off. It was Israel that begged for the ceasefire in June. Israel begged, and Israel's telling Trump, don't attack unless you can knock them out. So what is Israel saying now? They want to restart a war that they lost, that they suddenly have ballistic missile defense capabilities that could solve the Iranian missile problem. They don't. It's just political posturing on the part of Israel because Netanyahu is in a political bind at home, and he can't be seen as being weak in the face of Iran's refusal to yield to American demands. Why did the Abraham Lincoln shoot down a drone? Ask yourself that question. Because they're scared. They're scared to death. They are out there 800 kilometers off the coast of Iran, moving around, trying to stay quiet, not letting the Iranians know where they are, because if they ever do launch, what they fear is that Iran will fire a salvo of hypersonic missiles with maneuvering warheads with precision-guided capability that will sink the Abraham Lincoln. And so they're trying to stay hidden. They didn't shoot down that drone because America's being aggressive. They shot down that drone because they were panicked, because that drone got too close. That drone was going to find out where the Abraham Lincoln was. They don't want the Iranians to know where the Abraham Lincoln is because they're scared because they know what will happen. The carrier battle group is a legacy weapons system that no longer has operational viability against a modern opponent. It's the same fear they have with the Chinese. If we ever end up in a shooting war with China over Taiwan, I can guarantee you that aircraft carriers are going to be way the hell out there because they can't come in close because they'll get sunk. If there's ever a shooting war with Russia, aircraft carriers will be way the hell out there because you get too close, they're going to get sunk. They're not survivable in the modern environment against an enemy equipped with area denial weapons. And that's, of course, what Iran has. The only reason why Iran exists today is because of its long-range ballistic missile program. That's it. That's the only reason. And to give it up and not insist on other changes is suicide.